Hey everybody, today we'll be covering how to factorize quadratics, and today the method is grouping. Alrighty, so a monic trinomial is a quadratic that has a coefficient of 1 behind your x squared. This is a easier kind of trinomial compared to if there is a coefficient behind. Today we're going to go through how to factorize a trinomial like this using grouping. Alrighty, so let's take the example x squared plus bx plus 5x plus 6. And we want to turn it into a form x plus something, x plus something. Let's hypothetically put some variables in here. If we were to expand, we end up if x squared plus ax plus bx plus ax plus a times b. Now, if we notice, we have a times b and a plus b. We want this a times b to equal 6, and this a plus b to equal 5. These are just adding like terms together. Now, basically, we know that a times b has to equal 6 and a plus b equals 5. The way to find what is a and what is b is to first start with the multiplication. What we want to do is we want to find all the factors of 6, 1 and 6, 2 and 3. And what we want to do is, if this is a and this is b, we have two options that really suit this. But we need to filter out what will work to get 5. If we add these together, we end up with 7. If we add it with these guys, we get 5. So that means our A has to be 2 and our B has to be 3. Now, technically, our A could be 3 this time and B could be 2. So this factorizes to x plus 3, x plus 2, or x plus 3, no, x plus 2 and x plus 3. This is A, this is B. However, once we move on to slightly trickier questions, we cannot interchange the order of A and B, and this comes all down to whether there's a negative here or a negative here. So let's go on to a different example. We had x squared minus 7x plus 6. We want to find our A and our B. Now, from inspection, we can see one of them is a negative, one of them is a positive. Clearly, when you multiply two things together and they become a positive, they must be the same sign. You could have a positive times positive equals a positive, or a negative times negative equals a negative. Equals a positive. Now, which one is it? Not sure at the moment. So let's have a look at here. Before it was a plus plus with the example beforehand, but now we have a plus b equals a negative number. A positive plus a positive will always be positive, and a negative plus a negative will be a negative. So we know that a and b both have to be negatives. So we list all the factors with 6 again. And in this case, it actually doesn't matter which order. If we minus them, or if we add them, these two numbers together, we end up with -7 and -5. We have a winner. So that means our A is -2. Oh, sorry, -5. What? Sorry, my mistake. -1 and B is -6. And that's our answer. So far, we looked at an example, x squared plus 5x plus 6. Whenever it's plus, it's pretty self-explanatory. When the value without an x is positive, it's pretty self-explanatory. B can be two values. You can interchange them quite easily. Now, however, once we go into different questions, this will not be the case. So if we change this to a negative, and we have plus x, we want to get the same thing. So let's do this again. Something times something equals -6. Let's get the factors. A times b equals -6, and a plus b equals 1. The coefficient in front is 1. So since the multiplication ends up with a negative, we know that a is a positive and b is a negative, or a is a negative and b is a positive. How do we know? Unsure at the moment. But now we've seen a plus b is equal to 1. More importantly, positive 1. The positive number is biggest. So if we assume a is biggest, a always has to be the biggest number. So if we have 6 and 1, 3 and 2, 2 and 3, and 1 and 6. So this are all negatives. This system, we can get rid of these options because we know that if you add them together, it has to be a positive number. And 2 minus 3 is -1, and 1 minus 6 is -5. So we can half our options. We add them together, and we have a winner. So that means our A is 3 and B is -2. And I mean biggest value. So 6 and 3 bigger than -1 and 2, but more importantly, 1 and 2. Let's do another example. -5. Sorry. -1. So we know that A times B is negative and A plus B is negative. That means the larger value has to be negative. So if we get the list of factors, this side has to be the negatives. Sorry, if this side is the negatives, this cannot happen because the biggest number, 6 and 3, has to be the negative. So these no longer an option. So if we get them, we end up with -5 and -1. Here's our winner. So that means we end up with x minus 3, x plus 2. What I'm doing is I'm seeing what sign is this, what sign is this, and cutting down my options instead of writing down all the possible values. Alrighty, that's all.